how to set up a workout plan. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm here with another testimonial with my awesome client Katie, who just completed the 12 weeks of my program, and she really got out how to lift and how to design a training program. So if you want the knowledge, if you want to make serious gains in 3 months learning about how to fuel your body with plant-based foods and how to train effectively, link in description for application. I would love to talk to you. But before we get into the testimonial, I also am going to be explaining how to set up a workout plan. So I get this question a lot, and I used to be so confused about it myself. When I first started lifting, I would just look on Instagram for different fitness inspirations workouts, and I would kind of do these random exercises, and then I wouldn't write down anything that I was lifting, so then the next time I would go in and do squats, I wouldn't know if I actually made progress from the last time because nothing was recorded. So I did see some progress doing this, but I did not see maximum progress until I really started diving deep into programming when I got my PT certification and really learned about the different methods of programming. That's when I saw results. So stay tuned, and I will be explaining exactly how I program a workout. Hello everyone, I am here with Katie, and her roommate, well, they don't live together anymore because, as you can see, Katie has upgraded to a very nice apartment on the beach and left Faith in the dust. But Katie has completed my program, and she is going to talk a little bit about it. So first, Katie, just tell me a little bit about yourself, what you were eating currently, what you were doing before the program, and what life is like for you.
Okay, so I am a teacher, so I have early mornings, but with this program, I was doing really early morning gyms, which was a little bit earlier than I used to do, which I liked. Before the program, so I've always been like really vegetable oriented, mostly vegetarian. I eat like some meat sometimes. Before the program was quarantine, so I was eating a lot more sugar and things before that. But also working out a lot, but not on like a strict program, doing a lot of like Shaun T and Sanity or kickboxing, a lot of at-home workouts. And I'd only ever really weight trained like one or two programs before, but I still didn't really have much weight training knowledge prior to this program.
Gotcha. So what made you kind of decide to want to work with me and do my program with?
Yeah, so I obviously followed you on Instagram and saw a lot of your transformations and other people's, which is motivating. But coming out of quarantine, I was not feeling the best about myself. And I had done a smaller weight training type program through my gym, which was shorter, but it didn't have much guidance. So there was weight training in it, but I didn't know how to do a lot of the moves. So when I talked to you about what I would gain from this program, like the knowledge of actually how to weight train, and the videos that you would post and the videos that I would submit, it made me have a lot of confidence in what I would be able to do with weight training through this program. So that excited me. And then also I was eating mostly vegetarian, mostly on like a kind of plant-based diet, but I didn't know, like I was eating mostly chickpeas. And so after talking to you about the types of proteins that I could include and what you thought would make a difference in my body, I felt like it was really going to be worth the try.
Awesome. You still had the chickpeas in there, but not every meal. So
they're so good.
On the same note of food, what kind of new vegan foods did you try and you found out that you liked?
So many. So I had never even heard of tempeh or seitan before this, and now I eat them like 2 to 3 times a week. Like literally, me and Craig eat vegan most of our weeknights now. Even Craig, and he loves meat. So we've like done a lot of exploring with like different seitan recipes. We love buffalo tempeh. and like the mac and cheese. So I found so many different recipes that I just like love. I literally started buying soy sauce in like the giant container, like so many good things. So I'm like really happy with a lot of the foods that I found, and like learning how to eat, because I felt like when I first started this program, I thought you were crazy with the amount of food you wanted me to eat in a day. Like the first sheet pan meal I guess I made, I literally like I couldn't eat it all. So just the fact that I learned how to eat foods that would fill me up and would have like so much on my plate was incredible for like being on a diet.
Yeah, that's the key. It's like filling up with those veggies that make you feel full, and then protein, of course, obviously, and then chickpeas for the rest.
Yeah, chickpeas.
That's awesome. And you even made a vegan Thanksgiving and a vegan birthday cake.
Yeah, so
That was
I go
nice.
really hard with everything. So I did an entire vegan. I made like a 4-course vegan Thanksgiving meal for just me, Faith, and like
It
all of
looked
the
good.
vegan birthday stuff we did. Like I now know how to make like vegan dips and things. I'm into it.
You're more vegan than me, and you put pickles in your salad.
Oh, I love.
What would you say, Katie, in terms of lifting, what your biggest accomplishments were in the program?
So in terms of lifting, I got to that pull-up unassisted, which was, I think, probably like my most proud moment at the gym, because I remember the first time I ever did a pull-up at the gym, I wasn't even a pull-up, it was like jump and then like go down slow. And I like literally almost cried and like laughed in the trainer's face like this is a joke. And then even like in the summer when I was doing like quarantine workouts, I had a band and I had to literally use 2 bands because I was like, this is way too hard. So then to get all the way down to doing none or like no bands for 5 in a row was just like so empowering, and I felt so strong. So that was like really, really confidence building for me. And then also this like when we were squatting, I like at first thought it was so hard, and then by the end, I could add so much more weight than I ever thought I could, which just like made me feel so good. Even if it was for a small number, I was just so proud to have so much more. So both of them, I don't even know like which one was better, the pull-ups or the squats.
I'm so proud of you for that pull-up. I was so excited when you texted me.
It was such a good moment, and like one of the trainers from the Lifetime was there, and I was just like, look at me, like look what I'm doing.
No, that's awesome. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
What would you say to someone who is thinking about working with me in my program and is on the fence? Will you tell them to do it?
Yeah, I would tell them that if you want to do this program, you will absolutely get out of it whatever you put into it. So I have done 1,000 programs my entire life, and I would like always complain to Rose that I didn't like see a change in my body. And so this was the first time I was ever actually able to see like a real change, like noticeable, and like not just in my pictures, but like I thought my face looked a lot thinner, and like I could see a difference in my legs. And I think it was because of the level of commitment that this program requires of you and that Rose holds you to. So looking at your food and your workouts all together really made a big difference for me. So as long as you're willing to put your whole self into it, then I think it's really worth it.
And if you're open to trying some plant-based foods.
Which is delicious, honestly.
Good. Heard it here. All right, Katie, thank you so much. I think it's past my bedtime and not past yours yet because you go to bed late and don't sleep, but thank you. So you've seen the light, you started lifting, and you're no longer a newbie. So what I classify as a newbie is someone who is new to lifting and your muscles are really, really, really primed to make gains. So I'm going to be talking about if you had access to a gym, you would be able to pick up heavier weights each time you did the same workout. So I'm not talking you're a newbie, you can go in and throw around 30 pounds for dumbbell curls. I'm talking that you can really start making steady progress with the load over time. But you're gonna reach a point where you are gonna be more intermediate. So this is usually about 6 months to a year if you're consistently lifting. And then you can't really get away with just doing 2 full body sessions a week, because when you're a newbie, your muscles keep growing for 72 hours after you lift. So you really do not need to do a lot of training during this time. I always say you could do 1 bicep curl and see a bicep very shortly after, just because your muscles are like, oh my gosh, what is this amazing thing called lifting? But you guys, over time, what usually happens, what happened to me, what happens to most of my clients, is you really get addicted to lifting and you see that physical progress. It really comes quickly. And then you just want to keep progressing. We want to consistently be getting stronger. You want to be able to lift next year what you couldn't lift this year. You want to be able to manipulate your calories to be able to eat more and lift more. And you might go through phases of bulking and cutting and stuff like that. But when I am talking programming, I am talking about how to structure your training over the long term. So you should always, always, always think about the long term first. So when I am programming for myself, I'll think about, a year from now, I want to be stronger. And how can I get there? Then you break it down a level again and say, okay, I am going to focus on something for 3 months. And this is where the word periodization comes in. I used to be scared of the word periodization. I thought it was too, advanced, like Olympic athletes. But basically the word periodization means breaking up your training in different rep ranges and using different weights. Yes, we do want to get stronger every time, but if we just went into the gym each week and tried to max out, we would demolish ourselves, especially if it's deadlift. I suck at deadlifting. If I were just to go all out, I would be in a back brace. So in order to mitigate injury, do your training plan safely, and really get the most bang for your buck, you have to periodize, which means focusing on different rep ranges at different loads over time. So the 2 variables of training that I like to think about with periodization is volume and intensity. So volume is basically work capacity. So when I think volume blocks, I will think about higher reps at lower weight. And then intensity is more strength focused. Intensity is lifting heavier weight at lower reps. So let's look at a 3-month time frame. This is how I would structure it over a 3-month time strain using periodization. So I will separate into different blocks that are periodized. So I will do a volume block and then an intensity block. So in the volume block, I will train 40 to 70 reps per muscle group. So that's going to be high volume. I'm not going to be going all out with my loads. It'll be pretty moderate. Volume with this low, moderate weight to high reps, that is more of bodybuilding training, hypertrophy style, high volume. And then intensity is more of powerlifting kinda, strength focused, lower sets, lower reps, and higher weight. So I like a mix of both because I want to be strong and I also want to look good. So I will do 4 3-week blocks in the different rep schemes. So I'll start off with volume, and this will mean that my reps are a little bit higher, usually 12 reps, and then that will also mean I won't be lifting a lot. But by the 3 weeks, that 3rd week of that block, I'll probably be able to lift a little bit more than I did the 1st week. And you could keep going with this, but what I like to do is then throw in a lower rep intensity block. So then after the 3rd week, my 4th week would start on intensity. So I'll bring the number of sets up and the number of reps down. So I'll train around 5 reps per set. And then I will also lift heavier than I could at the higher reps. So I'll do that again for 3 weeks, keeping all the exercises the same because you really want to be able to progress on the exercises of the different movement patterns. And then I'll go back to volume, and that 3rd block will be harder than the 1st block. I'll probably be able to lift more at higher reps, and then I can implement some more training techniques that I'll talk about later. And then I'll go back to my strength block. And then by the end of those 3 months, I really hope that my compound lifts have increased. If not, that means I'm probably fatigued, I'm training for a marathon, or I set up my program incorrectly. But the main point is that you can really achieve consistent strength increases over time in different ways. But this is what I do for myself to keep myself guessing, so I can alternate 3 weeks of the same thing at a different block. But some people like to do that even down to the week. They'll have heavy days, they'll have light and high rep days. So you really can play around with it based on personal preference, which leads to my next point, which is, okay, now that we decided that we want to improve our compound lifts over 3 months, what am I going to do in each of those individual sessions in those 3-week blocks? How many times should I go to the gym? How many times should I train a certain muscle group? So always think, you guys, that you need to hit a total amount of reps per muscle group per week. So like I said, that's going to be that 40 to 70 over the volume, and then 40 to 50 for the intensity block. So as long as over that week you're hitting those numbers, you really can go to the gym whenever you want. You can do 3 full body days, or you can do 5 days and split it up. And you really have to think about here what exercises you're trying to progress in. I always like to progress over my compound lifts, which is squat, deadlift, bench, hip thrust. Girls really like to focus on glutes. You really need to make sure that you're hitting your knee dominant and your hip dominant movement patterns when you're training your glutes. So I do 3 leg days a week just because I think that with glutes, they're such a big muscle group that, with the medius and the maximus, that you can train a variety of angles without getting fatigued. Oh, I forgot to mention fatigue. You definitely don't want to train too much because you won't be able to recover and your muscles won't be able to grow. So just think about the total number of reps and sets you need for the week, and don't go crazier than that because it's just going to not help you at all. Exercise selection. Compound lifts always first, especially if you're trying to progress these. You're going to want to save all your energy for them. Compound lifts first, and then you can work down for another compound lift. So I do squats, then I do lunges, I do hip thrusts, then I might do lunges that day again, but basically squat, hip thrust, deadlift, bench will always come first. And then with the accessories, you can kind of pick and choose what you want to target. And I then like to do supersets. So you might be asking, how do I know what exercise is superset with what? So there's a lot of different ways you can go about this. If you are, again, a full body workouter, you're short on time, you want to train your metabolism, then you can do upper body and lower body supersets because that gets your blood flowing throughout your whole body. But if you're trying to target a specific muscle group, you can do agonist supersets. So agonist muscles are muscles that work the same way in the same muscle group. So with agonist supersets, you're really forcing a lot of fatigue on the muscle group. And that I would use during a volume block where I want a lot of time under tension and I want to really just pound my muscles. I would use an antagonist superset that is opposite muscles, so that would be a pull-up and a push-up. So that really helps when you want to give yourself more rest time, but you still want to be efficient in what you're doing. So that would be during my intensity block when my reps and sets are down and I'm trying to lift a lot of weight. I'm going to want a lot of time